Hello, my astrology family. We're continuing the 2022 astrology marathon, and we're talking about the sign of Pisces, whether you're sun, moon, or ascendant in Pisces. Today, here to talk about Pisces is your fellow Piscean, the astrologer Tsveti. Hello, Tsveti.
Hi, Lada. Hi, everyone. I haven't been online for a while. It's been a really, I don't know, the last half year was so heavy and so difficult in my personal life. Yeah, I just couldn't make it. So I'm really happy to be back. And maybe it's like a part of this shadow period of the Venus retrograde through my third house, because I'm a Scorpio ascendant. So maybe I will going back to some communication methods I have forgotten for a while, but I love them. It's Venus. So I'm really, really happy to rejoin the community.
Thank you so much, Tsveti. I'm so happy you're healthy back with us. And yeah, you can tell us how the year 2022 will be for Pisces. Plus, anyone who would like to have a reading with Sveti, she's doing a discount. I think she can't take more than 10 readings for personal reasons. So if you'd like to have a reading, check out. I'll put a link below in the description for her 2022 personal horoscope for you. So you have the word, Sveti. What can Pisces expect?
This will be a very important year for Pisces, and it will be a very lucky one because we will have Jupiter entering the sign of Pisces. And so Jupiter is a benefic planet, and it will give us some luck, joy, hopefully, some opportunities to travel, maybe, and also opportunities to expand. It will give, like, it will be some rewards and gifts which are given to us, and it will be up to us, the Pisceans, to decide what we really want to do with this. The Pisceans who are actually in the late degrees, 25, 26, 27 till 29, they will be actually having the most benefits from Jupiter transiting the Piscean sign, because Jupiter will be retrograde and will be felt in these degrees at the end of 2022. So it will be felt 3 times. It will hit these degrees 3 times. So the opportunities will come. You will have some time to reconsider, and then maybe you will, because Pisceans, they're a little bit chaotic, not really so structured, and when the opportunities come with Jupiter, we might easily miss them because we just love to flow and to be, in the good energy, and we might come to think like whatever is here now, it will be here forever. So this is like a kind advice to everyone who is a Piscean, especially ascendant and sun, to really, whenever an opportunity comes between the beginning of the year and the 10th of May, when Jupiter will be in Pisces, take the opportunity. So don't hesitate. Whatever comes, consider it fast and just jump in and do whatever is required, because I really love what Victor says about Jupiter. It's like Santa Claus who brings you presents, but actually it's up to us to decide what we do with these presents. It's our choice because we have the free will, So it will be very nice energy, and it's worth really taking the opportunities. And when we talk, because I started with Jupiter, it's like the biggest transit for Pisces this year. When we think about Jupiter, Jupiter actually is like a magnifying glass, and it can give us the feeling of optimism. It can make us want to grow more, to expand. And when we talk about expansion, it can happen on many levels indeed. So on the physical level, when Jupiter transits the first house, expansion can come through weight gain. So it's really important, unless you don't want to gain some weight, really to focus on some large project and to expand on a mental, on a social level, on a spiritual level, because Jupiter is also a very spiritual planet, along with being a social planet. So any project that comes your way, and you really will feel enthusiastic, that's Jupiter as well. You will feel inspired. This is the sign of Pisces and Jupiter. It will increase our inspiration, our luck. So it will support the higher self manifestation. It will be like a muse coming and like igniting, giving us this spark that we might have been missing over the last 2 years, when Jupiter, which is the ruler of Pisces, was in a more weak position, transiting through Capricorn and transiting through Aquarius. And also, at the same time, Saturn will still be in our 12th house, and might be creating some difficulties there in the 12th house. So really take this opportunity when Jupiter is in Pisces, between the end of December and the 10th of May. Really take this opportunity to relax, to enjoy life, especially if it's your moon in Pisces, to feel more optimistic, to recharge more or less as well. And also Jupiter is associated with traveling, so there might be some opportunities for traveling despite the lockdown. I think that Pisces will be having some chances to go to places. I would advise really taking the chance to travel, especially abroad, um, only until Jupiter is in Pisces. When it enters Aries and your second house, maybe slow down a bit and not really, unless it's really necessary, because Jupiter is also your ruler. This is the planet that rules Pisces, so it will, once it transits into ingresses into Aries, it will have you will feel it more or less, and it's weaker there. It's very active, but still it's weaker than in Pisces. Then it will require from you to really act and move on in terms of second house matters, which are more related to finances, to gaining resources, to have investments, and it might more, how do I say, it might cause you to work much more rather than travel and have some leisure activities with beloved ones. So let me just take a look at my notes, because there is so much to say about Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter, as I said, because when it transits the ascendant is our body, so it can indicate better health, better vitality, also the sun, so improved vitality. Also, when Jupiter transits the moon, for example, or the ascendant, it can indicate better fertility. So some of us might get pregnant this year. So new expansion of the body and whatever you can imagine with the pregnancy, but it will be a huge expansion as well. I also wanted to mention Jupiter rules the 10th house for Pisces. So it can be an indication for some career development, some opportunity in terms of career. And later when it enters Aries, actually this will be like an extension of these opportunities to work on and gain more financial resources for yourself and increase your income. So it will be like a line which is continuing some events. If you go back to this year, between May and June, when we had Jupiter in Pisces for a while, only the first 2 degrees, then you can get an idea, get a clue what this Jupiter transit could be about for you, because there were some events, and for me personally, I really felt it was so light. I really felt much better. I was able to plan. Even we had Mercury retrograde during the time Jupiter was in Pisces, and still I was able to, you know, to go through it slowly like a Piscean, go with the flow, surrender, not, not resist, not fight whatever I don't need to fight. So it was like a very nice, not lesson, but a very nice opportunity to see how I can actually manifest my energy in a more smooth, better way. Just to go with the flow and still complete the tasks and things I need to complete, but and have some energy for pleasure at the same time, and feel some lightness. I was able to feel some lightness within me during this time. So I'm looking forward to this Jupiter in Pisces, and I really hope that it will bring some lightness. Again, it will bring it back. What else? So as I mentioned, expansion of career, or that could be some support from authority figures coming to us, because Jupiter rules the 10th house and the midheaven. So it will practically manifest the house as well, going through its rulership position in Pisces. So it's a lot about inspiration, joy, finding maybe our soul purpose, being much more aligned with our divine powers, with our divine origin, and being in touch with the knowledge that we're all one, and that if we feel happy and if we are okay, then everybody will be happy and okay. And also maybe coming to some realization related to the fact that we are all one, part of the same universe, and being in touch with our soul purpose much more, especially when Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in April, I think. So this will be much highlighted. um, we will be in touch with our talents, maybe be more willing to work to develop them, because Pisces is a very passive sign, maybe, and if I may say so, so it can be a little bit difficult for us to start moving. We need someone to push us a little bit, and Jupiter definitely will give us the energy, and we will feel this push. We might feel this inner inspiration to start working on something, to start developing something, a talent that we have. So yeah, if, for example, if it transits the moon, it might, make us relocate, for example, because the moon rules the home, the house. So it can trigger events like this. It can touch our sense of belonging, where we belong, who we are. So it can be, very beneficial in this sense. And yeah, the ascendant, if it touches the ascendant, then as I mentioned, this is our physical self. This is the path that we're walking. It's practically, because the ascendant is the first house, it's the beginning of a 12-year cycle, a totally new cycle. So and it can make you very visible for others, because it will enlarge the way others see you. And I remember when Jupiter transited my first house, I was going to an astrology course. It was not online. It was, I had to be there, and I couldn't help myself. I was like talking all the time, and others got frustrated with me a little bit. So I stopped going for a while, just to get my sense of where I am, who I am, and where I stand in the group, because it was, it wasn't so meant to be, but it just happened. I couldn't help it. I wanted to be seen. So yeah, we maybe Pisceans should be a little bit careful with that as well, because Jupiter can be too pushy sometimes, because it exaggerates everything, and so, the ascendant, for example, is ourselves. So we might become too visible for others, and we might be annoying. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to mention, because but actually this had a great effect on me, and I had some realizations about myself. So because Jupiter also rules beliefs and belief systems, and this helped me somehow understand some things for me and get an idea of where I want to be and how I want to present myself in a group. So it was, at first it felt like exaggerating, but then it brought its beneficial effect of balancing and moderation. So yeah, sometimes we need to see things through a magnifying glass so that we can see them. Otherwise, they remain invisible. And this can be another gift of Jupiter, because it might magnify something within ourselves, even if it's not the best thing, but then we just wave goodbye and we no longer do it, and it's no longer a part of ourselves. We come closer to our divine self, because Jupiter also rules, the divine. And yeah, I think that that's more or less about Jupiter being aligned with the meaning, with the life purpose, increased confidence, knowing who we are, knowing how we affect others, or if we don't, we definitely get to fall into situations where we realize how we affect others, and that's a step forward to understanding how we are all related. And if the people around us get annoyed and frustrated, then it affects us as well, because we are all connected. And this is the motto of Pisces: we are all one. So coming closer to this realization, it can only be beneficial for everyone. And when Jupiter enters the second house, from May until October, I think it was, then when it enters the second house, it will have a focus on money, on our or how we see ourselves, our self-image, also what we believe we deserve, and what we, because second house is all, it represents energy, and money is a kind of energy. So it will give us an idea maybe of how we use our energy and where we want to focus it, because Aries is a cardinal sign, it's very action oriented. So Jupiter will give us an opportunity to really focus our energy into something that's really going to bring financial or energetic results. So energetic results can come through acquiring more self-love and not losing our energy into self-pity or self-destructive behavior, mental, physical, whatever. Or, for example, it can come through material things like nutrition, what we eat. Second house is what we put into our body, how we nurture the physical body, also how we nurture the emotional body, how we are, so Jupiter can bring us through, again, through magnifying a certain issue, and then we are able to see really, why am I doing this to myself, and stop doing it. Or it can just make us very enthusiastic about starting a great nutrition, reading a book, for example. We can become very inspired. Or because it's in Aries, it can be some physical activity that we start moving more, and yeah, I think that's Jupiter through the second house can really trigger this desire for knowledge, of how we gain our energy, how we lose it. And yeah, that's on the more psychological level. We can become more interested into foreign values, because Jupiter is foreign lands, the foreign stuff as a whole. And with the North Node transiting the third house, we will be even more insatiable to learn more about foreign cultures, foreign countries. So it will be, I think that this year the transits, all in all, they are very supportive to each other. This is very nice, because there are other years where we have transits which are contradicting somehow, and sometimes it's a matter of where we focus, and then one of the transits manifests big time, and the other transit only we are not able to get the rewards of the transit so much, because we are so focused onto one certain thing. Well, this year for Pisces, I think it will be a year. I'm moving on to the nodes now, which will be they will be transiting the third and the ninth house for Pisces, and will be in Taurus and Scorpio respectively. So having the North Node, this is a very insatiable energy. This is something that you really can't get enough of. You're hungry to get. You have the drive, the ambition. And it's also very materialistic. Rahu is very insatiable to see material results, and it's a little bit like fake it till you make it, as you like to say as well. Energy. So while it is transiting the third house, it will make the Pisces insatiable for knowledge, all about third house, communication, marketing, advertising, anything related to social media, anything related to maybe also teaching, traveling to short distances, acquiring new skills regarding how to use your phone, for example, any kind of devices, or or making any effort to get a new car, for example. And because it's Taurus, it's also the material plane, so to say, and it can also like trigger the senses to get as much as possible, to use the senses as much as possible. We might become insatiable in terms of food as well, because Taurus is food. You want to say something?
No, I just had Rahu transiting the third from my sun sign, and I can share, for example, what happened as I became like, I would have two social medias, one phone in one, another in another. I was like insatiable for information, news, researching. It's overwhelming. It overwhelms the nervous system again. So now that it's starting to leave, it's changing signs. I'm like, I'm going to switch off.
Yes.
Expect something like that as well. Overstimulation of the mind, of the information. And you learn a lot though. So
yes, absolutely. And considering that practically the South Node is in the ninth house, then how do we change our worldview? How do we change our belief system? How do we change our moral code? Only through learning new stuff, right? So going through all the new stuff that is coming through the third house, through experiences with siblings, friends, our close relationships, so to say, also the closest environment around us, the neighborhood. So learning, going through, communicating with through social media as well, it can happen. But learning lots of new stuff can actually lead to a release in the ninth house of our old belief system. And the ninth house also rules traveling. So despite we will have Jupiter transiting the first house and we will have some opportunities to travel, I would still advise to be careful with planning so as not to dissolve this possibility. Also, Saturn transiting the 12th house of faraway places as well. I would say, unless it's some spiritual quest, because the South Node is very spiritual, Saturn as well, in a way. It wants us to become wise, to become, to move on only in a slower manner. So unless it's something really spiritual, some spiritual quest, then maybe traveling to faraway places, take it with a pinch of salt, so to say, and be careful, and don't get overly optimistic how this is going to happen now and everything will be flowers. And just have in mind that big expectations can bring huge illusions. Also, Neptune is in Pisces. We don't have to forget this. So and disappointment as well. So really, when it comes to travel and to whatever project we start, we need to carefully get the skills. The third house, the North Node in the third house, and so that we become more self-confident that we can do it. But for real, with Saturn through the 12th house as well, Saturn will require us to undo ourselves, to change something within us so that we can become more connected to the truth. Saturn manifests in the 12th house. It's the unconscious, it's a collective house. This is where, and Pisceans are generally very open to everyone. They can feel the energy around them. They're like an emotional sponge generally. So Saturn through the 12th, it's a hard aspect, but for Pisceans, it's a great opportunity to really see, because Saturn manifests our fears on a material level, so that we can see where we need to change, what we need to change. And Saturn through the 12th house can help us with some addictions that we have, because it will put a restriction there. Our mind will be very much, with Jupiter in the second, we have the opportunity to restrict some addictions and to have better nurturing, both on physical and mental and emotional level. With Saturn in the 12th, it is supporting there indeed, because Saturn in the 12th will also give us this discipline to really cut on sweets, for example. I can't stop eating sweets. That's my addiction. And I can, but when Saturn was in my 12th, this is when I gave birth, actually, and for a year and a half, I didn't eat anything sweet. I did, and during my pregnancy, I couldn't eat sweet. It was like a forced restriction onto my body. I couldn't eat anything sweet. The baby didn't wanted it. It's just I felt very sick when I ate anything sweet. So Saturn through the 12th can be hard, because I wanted to eat, it can be hard, but then you can see the benefits of it, because making the effort always gives a reward. It only happens when Saturn goes out of the sign, indeed, so it should be a long-lasting effort, just like Saturn requires, but still it's worth it. Really. Okay, so also 12th house rules the bedroom and the bathroom, like these hidden spaces in our home. So it can be a nice idea if you want to manifest the transit and to make it a little bit easier, not somehow not to restrict the bed pleasures, let's say. Maybe you can use some tricks. You can put some watch on the wall, for example, because Saturn rules time, so it can measure the time and leave you alone. Or
in the bathroom,
or you can reconstruct, because Saturn likes to have structure, so you can reconstruct something in the bedroom or the bathroom. And what else? Saturn also rules stones as well, right? So you can use some stones as well, to just place them somewhere. I know Nicola Stojanovic used to have such a direct approach with planets. I miss him a lot. I know that he's here with us and he's watching, so I really like to use his approach with, it's a very literal and direct, but it works. Many people say they give feedback, it works. So also Saturn rules, it's a cold planet, so you can get some fresh air in the bedroom all the time, just have this draft and ventilation or whatever, so leave it a little bit colder, so so you get warmer in the bed.
Get cold showers.
Yes, or get cold showers. Yes, that's a very nice idea, by the way. So also 12th house is very much related to research and digging deep into something. So it can mean starting some kind of a project and really digging deep to develop it, to learn, but behind the scenes, it's still not the time to be that visible. Although there are transits which will allow this year for growth, and for example, North Node through the 3rd house, or Jupiter through the 4th, through the ascendant, ruling the midheaven, it can be a very good indication to start some new career, because Saturn might dissolve our interest, if I may, in the 12th house. It might dissolve what we were interested so far in, and it might dissolve the way we used to do things. So it can be like an indication. All these transits this year could be an indication for starting something new, a new project, a baby, like a 12-year cycle with the yeah, with Jupiter transiting the first house. But really, with Saturn in the 12th, it should be kind of in moderation, knowing our limits, and making the research before that, not just jumping in. And yeah, and Saturn through the 12th can also bring some sleep issues with sleep, because 12th house through sleep, and Saturn can create some hardship there. So yeah, just have this in mind and allow yourself to relax, because so that you don't have this blockage. And if you have some issues with sleeping, then do some research while you are awake. Maybe this will help. Put some efforts into something which is constructive, so that you can relieve this Saturnian energy. Maybe Saturn wants you to really get deep into something, and you're like being too passive, not taking the responsibility for this. And Saturn through the 12th house can dissolve the desire to be responsible as well. It feels like, it might feel like you want to leave everything and go in the woods
To be
by
honest,
yourself.
I had it for 2 years, and I can share that to tell people who are having it right now. If you're Pisces, don't pressure yourself too much. Just do the bare minimum, because uh, when I was trying with Saturn in the 12th, I wanted to be more organized, but it's dissolved, this organization of Saturn, this responsibility to be more strict with myself. I had those plans that whatever I planned, it will work out like that. It would always get dissolved. So don't stress out if this happens. And I was kind of, I left the house to be a bit of a mess. I got domestic help to help me, because I was just not in a space to be motivated to keep everything clean, because Saturn is to clean as well. Saturn is the clean planet, is the organization, to have everything done properly. Tuck, 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 tuck. But when it's in the 12th house, you're like, whoa, can I just
It's just so much, you can't really get to know where to start from.
Yeah.
It's just, you have a hard time putting some schedule to follow.
Yes. So don't push yourself. And I was like, don't be hard on yourself. Why can't I fulfill this plan I have for myself? Whatever. At the end, it's like, yes, especially if you're a very active person who is like, go, go, go. It might be very disheartening for you this period, but Jupiter in your first house will help for a while. But
yes,
it goes out of this, so you might again feel this kind of like outside circumstances, or like be beyond you, or putting kind of breaks for you, or confusing your plans, or that you can't organize yourself overall.
Yeah, overall, and especially with Neptune in the first, because it's a tough transit. I'm just having Neptune on my Mercury and on my progress Mercury as well, and I'm telling you guys, a year and a half, my 3 planets in Virgo, they're suffering. Absolutely. I am all over the place. I can't really get a schedule. Even if I make a plan, I forget I wrote it. I'm telling you, it's so difficult to focus. But I got to be much more empathetic, and I got to, somehow I feel like I'm supported by the divine powers. I'm being really very gently pushed into my soul purpose, and I can feel it. I can feel this huge support, and I'm not scared. At first, it was very hectic. I didn't know where I was going, but this Neptune actually it really wants us to connect with the divine, and that's it's very difficult for people who have a structured life, a 9-to-5 job, and they need to run errands. Having a family, for example, is hard enough already. Having to do all the stuff for the kid, for the school, for whatever you can imagine, because we live in a very dynamic world, and it requires from us to be very organized, otherwise things don't happen. And then other people might get affected. And being a Piscean and this Neptune on your sun, moon, or ascendant,
and Saturn in the 12th,
and Saturn in the 12th in combination, yes, it might make you feel like, you know, your self-worth might suffer a lot, and it might make you feel like you're panting for breath. You just can't keep up with the requirements of the entire world, and you might feel outwardly, in a way, not being a part of you. You might want to, you know, fall asleep and wake up in 2 years time, and it might be this really frustrating and overwhelming feeling. But still, the intuition gets very heightened, and if you allow yourself to surrender for a while, that's what the Piscean sign wants us to do, to surrender really, and to feel our energy, and to see that actually our self is not only the body. We're actually energy, and we're not only the body. So if we allow ourselves to feel this divine connection, and that we are a part of a bigger, something really bigger, something huge, then we feel accepted. And once we get this feeling of acceptance, we can accept ourselves as well, even, you know, being chaotic, you know, not running all the errands needed, and so on. So really tap into meditation as well, because Neptune in Pisces is all about meditation. And meditation, when I say meditation, I don't mean you know, locking yourself out in a dark room, although with Saturn in the 12th, it's a good option to isolate yourself in a dark room. But more, I mean, do something that makes you relax, even if it's reading a book.
Working meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Working meditation. And
Yes.
something simple. Saturn is something very repetitive and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, what I used to do is, like, there was certain things I had to scratch off the windows, and it would take weeks to scratch them, and I'll do it for hours there, and it felt like a meditation. It was weird.
Yeah, as long as you have the time to just space out and, you know, be a real true Piscean, you know, get in touch with higher realms and just swim there for a while. Then when you come back, because, you know, the symbol of Pisces, it's two fishes swimming, one upward, one downward. So if we allow the one of the fishes to swim downward and to tap into the realms which are invisible to others, then when the other one goes out on the surface, it will be able to connect and to give information from the unknown worlds. And in this sense, Neptune in Pisces can be very positive for people who are in Neptunian careers, like photography, any kind of artistic career, or any like directing movies or graphic designs. You might get such huge insights in this relation. You might get the muse to create things. And yeah, and just like a muse comes and goes, you know, Saturn will restrict you from using substances to go and get it again. So so that you can see there is a kind of a cycle of, because tapping into the invisible world is very demanding in terms of energy. So you need to relax a little bit so that you can go back there. And you might have this realization that you really need time. And when you look back in the long run, you will see this cycle of tapping down and going up, and tapping down and going up, and then allow yourself and accept yourself more when you have a period of being not so productive, for example. So I think that this Neptune is a very difficult transit. Maybe it's one of the most difficult for Pisces this year, because
For a small number of Pisces.
yes, for a small number of Pisces. It's only for Pisces between 20 and 28 degrees. I have it here, but yeah, but generally Neptune being in the first house can have this effect, even if it's more gentle, because Pisces is a very sensitive sign, and Neptune is the other planet that rules Pisces. So this is our rulers, and we definitely feel this energy here and there. So maybe even I would give a bigger orb for the Pisces who might feel it. Yeah, and it's otherwise on the negative side, it can really leave those affected feel very confused, feel lost, as I mentioned, disconnected from reality. That's what Neptune rules. But Neptune actually it disconnects us from reality and from our responsibilities, and it might create difficulties to complete certain jobs. But it might be because we had a dream about this. Maybe we wanted this, or maybe we have Neptune is a very how do I say, subtle moderator of boundaries. If your boundaries are way too hard and you are too harsh with people and you're not empathetic enough, although I doubt it for Pisces, but still, if you are on this side, then Neptune will put you into situations where you expand your empathy. And if you are on the other side, where you are too much into others, not having your own boundaries, Neptune might send you into situations where you will need to defend your boundaries in a way. So Neptune is really a very subtle planet. And if we resist it, then it can manifest more on the negative side through through bringing us to a situation where we finally need to surrender and nothing else remains. So yeah, we'd better do it without going to the extremes. Just, we need to learn to surrender and to. So yeah, as I mentioned, it will help those, also music. Neptune rules all these arts, music, painting, everything. So photography, not to forget the spiritual professions, anyone who is in a spiritual endeavor, or also the healing professions, nurturing healing as well. I think that they will benefit from this Neptune transit a lot. And I mentioned the third house. We will have there the North Node, and we'll also have there Uranus. It will affect Pisceans between, it will move between 14th and 18th degree this year, 2022. So plus minus 1 degree. So Pisceans between 13 and 19, 20 degrees will be affected by Taurus, but it's a sextile. So it's not a hard transit. It will bring opportunities as well, and they might be sudden, unexpected, some kind of enlightenment, some new ideas, because the ascendant, it rules us, our awareness. The sun also rules the vitality. So some new benefits. And as we mentioned with the notes already, the third house is all about collaboration with with the closest circle, technology, being more awake for opportunities that are coming there. What else? And also third house, and with Uranus there, which rules astrology, you might become very much interested in astrology as well. So it's definitely a very beneficial transit to those Pisces who will be affected, because it's a sextile, as I mentioned, and sextile will give an opportunity and will require us to act on it. So it will, give us, for example, buying a new device, a new phone, it will require you to learn all its functions so that you can use them. So you might get it as a present, but then you need to put some effort so that it starts working as a trine harmoniously and without any effort. So you just pick it up and start working on it. The same with astrology, with studying, learning whatever new skill you might need, anything related to making new videos, for example. That's my plan. Yeah, anything related to this as well could be like, at first it requires a huge effort to sit down and focus and learn, but then actually it becomes something easy, like a trine. And you can do it, easy. And also, I think Uranus will be conjuncting the North Node at one point in 2022.
But I would say like the whole from the end of the spring and the whole summer, we're under the influence of Uranus, North Node.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So it can, attract into our lives some people who encourage us to do new things, to explore, because Uranus and the North Node, they have similar energy. Both want something new, both want something out of the box. And also, it could be like learning to be more self-sufficient, because Taurus is all about our energy, how, about resources. So North Node and Uranus together, learning some alternative methods, sources, how to be more resourceful for yourself. And because it's the third house, it can be in terms of communication again, being more resourceful for others, but also for yourself, doing things on your own, not delegating so much work. And yeah, so it can be really useful in this direction. What else? Also expanding the community, the close community. It's the third house. It can be having a better network, to really enjoy and find new ways, as I mentioned, for resources, for for resources. It can include more opportunities for short distance travel, more communication, changing your mindset through acquiring new skills. Okay, and I think I haven't mentioned the Mercury retrogrades through the year. They will actually be shifting from air houses to earth houses. So this will be the first Mercury retrograde, will be in January, and it will actually coincide with the Venus retrograde for a while. So Venus and Mercury will be retrograde together, and Venus will be retrograde in the 11th house, and Mercury will be retrograde in Aquarius and in Capricorn in the 12th, and then in the 11th house for a while. So since Venus is all about relationships, and it's all about friends, and 11th house is it rules bigger groups of people, centers, systems without a center. So it's very much about maybe going back and revisiting some relationships, some groups, and just having in mind whether we really want to stay within a certain group, or really cut our relationships there. Maybe someone old from the past might come back in your life, because Venus is also the ruler of your 8th house and your 3rd house. So again, a focus on communication, maybe because 8th house rules soulmate. Maybe a soulmate might come and communicate with you for a while. Someone you miss a lot, 8th house, or you might get some awareness about some model that you were using in your communications, and you finally see maybe it doesn't work for me, so I need to change something here. And also, because Venus is also the ruler of the 8th house, you might revisit some 8th house rules other people's money, it rules taxes, inheritances, so you might revisit some investments as well, and make some efforts to communicate. It also rules 3rd house and 11th house, and then bring it to the higher level, to the larger scale, so to say, within a group. What else? Bringing out something to a larger audience, showing them some of your talents, or 11th house also rules large scale projects, so it can be you going back to something which is large scale for you, and making some research. 8th house, Venus also rules the 8th house, making some deep research regarding this. And with Mercury retrograde there, it's also very a good opportunity to revisit something, and to they say that when a planet is retrograde within a house, and the 11th house will be really very much highlighted in this sense during this time, January, February, then maybe really go back to some project that you forgot about, or that you didn't have the time to conclude, and really work hard on it, and then you get 3 times bigger rewards when you complete it. So yeah, then Mercury will be also retrograde in May, June, between the 10th of May and the 3rd of June. It will be retrograde in your 3rd and 4th houses. First, it will start retrograding in the 4th house in Gemini, and then it will, on the 24th of May, it will go into, ingress into Taurus. So 3rd and 4th house, how are they related? We can look at them separately, but I personally believe that because this is a part of the same Mercury cycle, a retrograde cycle, these two houses should be playing out something which is, you know, in common within them. And so I was thinking the 4th house is one of the parents, and practically the 3rd house is the health of the other. So it could be something going on within the family, for example, and you need to solve some issue, go back, revisit something related to the home environment, something related to the you know, to the parents, to your parents, because it activates this 4th, 10th house axis, the parental axis. It also activates the career axis as well, because the 10th house is our career, and 3rd house is all about communication. So it might mean you need to revisit some of your projects, some of your career projects, or maybe you initiated something and now you need to go back and revisit it. Maybe you launched a website and now you need to rework, or maybe you bought some spot to build a house and now you need to do all the communication and documentation related to, you know, because the 3rd house is the 6th from the 10th, it will be all about administrative stuff, running errands and completing things. Maybe some authority will call to tell you this document is missing, please provide it, otherwise it's not going to work. And it might be related to some reworking, reconstruction of the home, because Mercury starts retrograding in the 4th house. And in 2021, actually, we only had Mercury retrograde periods in the water houses for Pisces, right? The 4th, the 8th, and the 12th. But now we're also including the Earth houses already. So the energy is shifting a bit, and it might become more grounding, not so emotional, and we might come to see practically how this energy of the Mercury retrogrades, even from last year, can manifest now on a more material level. How, for example, if we had some breakthrough and realization, now we might be more steady, more grounded, and just go and manifest and complete and have a material result from the project. And then the last Mercury retrograde will be between the 10th of September and the 2nd of October. It will be in the 8th house first, and then on the 24th of September, it enters the 7th house. So it will somehow combine maybe something related to relationships, something related to partnerships, to marriage, because 8th house also, Victor likes to say, 8th house is the soulmate. So, and also I think in Vedic astrology, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Vedic astrology, 8th house is marriage as well, the marriage partner, right?
Family.
The family, and yes.
The family of the partner, so the in-laws.
So it's very much related to family matters in a way, this Mercury retrograde. It can make you really reach some agreements there. It might cause some disturbance at first and make you to revisit, because Libra is also very much related to relationships and how we communicate with others, where we are diplomatic, where we need to be diplomatic, and where we need to push a little bit. On the other side of Libra is Aries. So being moderate in this sense. So we might need to start some negotiations with some partners, business partners, and 8th house is the business partners' resources. Maybe there will be some issues with their resources, and then when Mercury enters the 7th house, you will need to clear out possible difficulties, and you will need to negotiate on, you know, to renegotiate the terms of the contractual agreement that you signed, for example. So through the whole cycle of this Mercury retrograde, starting in the 8th and going into the 7th, when Mercury actually goes out of the shadow zone, you will probably have completed a contract that is much better, much more beneficial for all parties involved. No matter if it's, again, I repeat myself a bit, but no matter if it's the business partner, if it's your husband or wife, or if it's the in-laws. It might be something related, you know, terms can be renegotiated on an emotional level, and maybe some cards will just be put on the table and you will need to be more open to discuss things that were boiling for a while. So yeah, that's my insight on the Mercury retrogrades this year. And what did we miss? I didn't mention the eclipses for one particular reason, because they will be in Scorpio and Taurus, and Pisceans, luckily, they have the third ninth house axis activated, and also Taurus and Scorpio make trine and sextile to the Piscean sign. And practically, they will not be felt that hard unless they activate some natal planet in the natal chart. But then, yeah, then the chart of the person should be
What about
seen.
Mars retrograde?
Yes, Mars retrograde. I think this is the last thing. Mars retrograde in Gemini, in the 4th house again. So
Is it the fourth? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's the 4th house. At least,
Yes,
yeah, it's the 4th house. Yes. So Mars will be retrograde in the 4th house, the family again. So family, real estate, the place of living, the family of origin as well as our own family. So Mars is, when it's in Gemini, it's very much related to how we speak, how we talk, and it can be in, you know, it can indicate some issues with being too pushy and demanding too much in words, for example, or the partner is demanding too much from you. It can be a two-way difficulty for communication, because Gemini rules communication. So this Mars retrograde will be about how we stand at home, where we are, what's our position, how do we assert ourselves, how do we actually achieve what we want within the home environment. Do we create too much drama? Are we too pushy? Or maybe, you know, the partner is like this. So it will ask us to adjust and to really reach this through communication, because it's in Gemini. It will ask us to adjust through communication. And it can also, on a more physical level, it can mean relocation, for example, something that you considered. I think this is the 3rd time that the word relocation appears here. So it's very possible this year for Pisces, there are more than one indications about this. So it's very possible for Pisceans to change place of living, indeed. And you know, with the South Node in the 9th house, for example, together with the Mercury retrograde in the 4th house, and also Mars retrograde in the 4th house, it can be like you no longer want to stay where you were, and you leave a faraway place and you go back home. You might want to meet your family of origin. You might want to reconnect with them in a way. So it could be it as well. So or it can be just, you know, something as simple as making some renovations at home, redoing, you know, painting and stuff like this. It can be as simple as that.
Fixing something.
And Mars also rules the 2nd house and the 9th house of Pisces. So
Yes,
it can
investment. Something.
It can be an investment in a property, definitely. It can also be related to if you work abroad. It can be related to going back home and being relocated to your place of origin, for example, because we also have the South Node in the 9th house and Jupiter transiting through the 2nd. So when you go back, maybe you will be like in doing some buying some property
Or,
or
or I can also see it as someone who is trying to arrange some documents connected to foreign relocation and moving foreign places as well, because fourth house place every ninth house, visas, documents, papers like that.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. So yeah, this could be it as well. And on a physical level, because Mars is a malefic planet, not that it only, it can give you a drive to act. So it's not only on, manifesting negatively, but still, when it comes to the body, fourth house is ruled by Cancer, so it can affect the stomach a lot. And so you take care of the stomach. And Mars itself, it rules the head because it rules Aries. So also be careful not to get a headache when you say harsh words to others because it's in Gemini. So this is a way to understand how our words affect others as well, but still it's not a pleasant experience. So what else? It can cause too high acidity, I think, in the body. So it can, if you don't eat properly, but you will have the possibility to really restrict stuff and have a choice what you put into your mouth. But still, it can cause high acidity and it can cause ulcers in the stomach and in the intestines, but especially the stomach because it's ruled by Cancer and it's in the fourth house. And also some cysts in the ovaries because it also rules Scorpio. So we should also be careful with this. And if we get some issue, go and check it for sure. Yeah, otherwise, I think that whatever fight Mars picks, it's only to improve the environment. And because it's in the fourth house, it will, the final purpose of Mars is very just practically. It wants to achieve a goal. So what could be the goal in the fourth house? To achieve some equality within the home and to improve the home environment, through some renovation or, some repairs, fixing something. Yeah, if you have any sharp objects, or I don't know, I'm thinking about, we have a table which has very sharp, how is it called? It's a square table and it has angles. It has very sharp angles, and whenever we pass by, somebody hits a leg, and we're always having, bruised bumps, and we're blue. And we've been wanting to change this table for 2-3 years. Maybe, it can manifest in such a direct way, so literal.
Improve your house.
Yes, maybe we'll just throw it away finally when Mars goes retrograde in the fourth house. I hope that it will not be the result of someone hitting themselves hard, really, and injuring. But my Mars can also mean injury, accident. So yeah, it just occurred into my head. Maybe we'll change it tomorrow. I won't wait for something bad to happen. I will start
preemptively act.
Yes, I will start bugging my husband to just throw it away and get a new one. Yeah.
So much, Sveti. So all in all, to wrap up the year for Pisces, what would you say?
I would say this will be a year of great opportunities, and Pisces will really need to be to learn to act on when an opportunity comes. And if they're more passive and they are in a place where they don't really need to act and start something new, enjoy the energy. It's really something that you definitely deserve after this Saturn in the 12th house is pushing you hard. So enjoy the energy, especially until May. And really, like a Piscean, always try to trust the universe, that it has your back, and know that the higher powers, that the angels, that the invisible worlds stand by you, and they will be there to support you. And whenever you feel like you're in a pitfall, then pray. I think that with Jupiter and Neptune in the first house, prayer and turning to God, it's the best manifestation of a planet. So yeah, that's really what I would like to wish to the Piscean people who are watching the video. So yeah, be blessed and trust in the divine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sveti. It was a pleasure listening to you. If anyone wants to contact Sveti, she has, she only, I think, 10 readings she can do at this promotional price because she has another job. Did you work in a laboratory? 12-house job or something like that?
I work in the pharmaceutical.
Okay.
Yes.
So 12, Saturn must have been probably giving you a lot of responsibilities in the 12.
A lot, yes.
So
quite a lot. So yeah, it's very challenging. So yeah, I will be able to take maximum 10 readings really. And if there is a $30 discount for the next 2 weeks.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sveti. On your 2022 reading, yeah?
Yes, yes, on the transits.
Well, happy New Year, little Pisces or big Pisces.
Yeah, no matter. Happy New Year, everyone, and wishing you all the very best, really.
Bye-bye.